Have you ever noticed something interesting? When teachers meet years after leaving a school, they rarely talk about the policies. They rarely talk about inspections. They rarely talk about timetables. Or said they talk about people. And very often they talk about one principle. Not because that principle was perfect, not because they never made mistakes, but because they made people feel valued. And that is what this video is about. Because there is a difference between a principal who manages a school and a principal who changes lives. The difference is bigger than most people realize. Let me tell you a story. A young teacher joined a school full of enthusiasm. She arrived early, stayed late, prepared every lesson plan carefully. She genuinely cared for her students. Then one day, a serious parent complaint landed in her inbox. The email was copied to the principal, the vice principal, the coordinator, senior management also. The teacher was terrified. She sat outside the principal's office, wondering if her career was about to be damaged. When she walked in, the principal listened carefully and said something she never forgot. I am not here to find someone to blame. I am here to find the truth. The principal investigated fairly. The parent was heard. Then the teacher was supported, and the situation was resolved professionally. Years later, the teacher rarely remembered the details of the complaint, but she never forgot the principal. Because in that moment, she felt protected, she felt respected, she felt trusted. And trust is the foundation of great leadership. Many people think leadership is about authority. It isn't. Leadership is about influence. Authority comes from a position, influence comes from character. And the greatest principals understand this very well. Schools are not buildings, schools are people, teachers, students, parents, support staff, and people do their best work when they feel valued. An average principal walks into a classroom looking for mistakes. A great principal walks into a classroom looking for potential. An average principal asks, what went wrong? And a great principal, how can I help? That one question changes everything. Because great principals understand that teachers are not machines. Teachers are human beings. They experience stress. They face challenges at home. They carry responsibilities that nobody else sees. And yet, every day they walk into classrooms and give their energy to children. Great principals recognize this. They understand that exhausted teachers cannot inspire students. They understand that unsupported teachers cannot perform at their best. So before they focus on performance, they focus on people. And because they focus on people, performance improves naturally. One of the biggest mistakes leaders make is believing that fear creates excellence. It doesn't. Believe me, you. Fear creates compliance. Trust creates excellence. There is a huge difference. People may follow instructions because they are afraid, but they give their best because they feel trusted. The best principals know this. That is why they create something psychologists call psychological safety. Psychological safety means people feel safe enough to speak honestly, safe enough to ask questions, safe enough to admit mistakes, safe enough to try new ideas. In school, where psychological safety exists, innovation grows, collaboration grows, learning grows. In school, ruled by fear, something else grows there: silence. And silence is dangerous because problems that cannot be discussed can never be solved. Great principles do not create silence, they create trust. And trust is built in small moments. A conversation in a corridor, a supportive message after a difficult day, a classroom visit that encourages rather than intimidates, a private coaching conversation instead of a public criticism. Leadership lives inside these moments, not inside speeches, not inside mission statements, but in everyday interactions. Great principles also understand something many leaders forget: public support. Private correction: when a teacher makes a mistake, they coach privately. When a teacher is unfairly attacked, they support publicly. They understand that embarrassment destroys confidence. But coaching builds capability, and capable teachers build strong schools. Conflict is another test of leadership. Every principal faces conflict. Parents complain, teachers disagreement, students make mistakes, problems arise. Conflict is unavoidable. The question is not whether conflict will happen. The question is how leaders respond when it does. Weak leaders react emotionally. Strong leaders respond thoughtfully. Weak leaders look for someone to blame. Strong leaders look for solutions. Weak leaders protect their image. Strong leaders protect relationships. And over time, these choices shape the culture of an entire school. Culture is not what is written on a wall. Culture is what people do when nobody is watching. And culture always reflects leadership. Teachers watch their leaders carefully. Students watch them. Parents watch them. Everyone is learning what truly matters in that school. The greatest principles understand one final. People may forget what you said. People may forget what you did. But they will never forget how you made them feel. A teacher may forget a staff meeting. A student may just forget an assembly speech. A parent may forget a report card discussion in a parents teacher meeting. But they never forget the leader who believed in them, the leader who listened, the leader who stood beside them when times were difficult. That is the principal who leaves a legacy. Not through power, not through position, but through humanity. Because leadership is not measured by how many people work under them. Leadership is measured by how many people become better because of you. And that is why great principles are remembered forever. Not because they ran a school, but because they changed lives. If you have ever worked with a principal who made a difference in your life, Tell us about them in the comments, because great leadership deserves to be recognized. Education needs more leaders who lead with courage, wisdom, humility, and heart.